Welcome into this Telstra virtual event. I'm Justin Cleveland, the virtual events manager for Telstra, and today we are talking about Telstra's guide to the cloud, and in particular ways that your business can employ both existing technologies and some of the things that are coming up very soon. While we wait for folks to come in, I do want to tell you a little bit about what you can do with the On24 platform. Feel free to resize the screen, move things around as you see fit. That way you can see all of the different apps and the different little functionalities of this platform. You'll also see along the bottom there are some options for you, so you can go ahead and ask us questions. And at any point, if you've got something that you want to learn about more, please ask us, and our experts are standing by online to be able to answer those questions for you. As we get into the program today, I do have a wide selection of Telstra Cloud experts joining us here today. Sitting with me in Sydney, we're in 400 George Street, and by the way, if you hear some drilling along the way, that's because we are under construction and the new tech is set to launch, what is it, Monday already?
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, we are on track for a very cool opening, so if you do get down here at 400 George Street, make sure you come by and check it out. But sitting next to me here in Sydney is Erez Yarkoni. He is the SVP and Head of Cloud for Telstra. Joining us on the phone from Melbourne, and I will apologize, I am an American and I do love my R's, so I mispronounce Melbourne. But Tim Otten is the General Manager of Cloud Strategy and Platforms for Telstra. Also on the line, Matthew Sorvag, Specialist for Cloud in Telstra, and also Joel Dane, a Business Solutions Consultant for Telstra. And we'll draw them in at various points during this conversation. But let's go ahead and get started by bringing in Tim Otten, who is the General Manager of Cloud Strategy and Platforms. And Tim, I think one of the things that people have trouble with as they're thinking about cloud is thinking about it in terms of just storage or in older terms, but there's also an issue in, even if they understand all the whole range of cloud, is getting started.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, and that's right. We've had a long history in cloud. Telstra has been in cloud since 2008 in various forms, and you could even say prior to that with the various telephony offerings and other services we delivered out of cloud. But cloud's a journey for many of our customers. We're finding that while customers do see the benefits of cloud, and increasingly so in terms of business benefits, rather than simple total cost of ownership or manageability benefits of their various IT infrastructure and application components, we're starting to see customers see the benefit in terms of their business capabilities, their business processes, and how it enables them to do new and more innovative things in their business. But it is part of a transition and a transformation that is not as simple as moving data from one place to the other. There's a whole lot of new capability in cloud that enables different ways of doing business, different ways of collaborating, different ways of innovating, different ways of enabling workforce. And so it's in many cases not a simple matter of migrating the particular service that a customer is looking at, but transforming their business processes. And from the experience we've had in cloud, and I guess the learnings we've got from the journey we've been on with our customers, and we're always learning a lot from our customers. That's a key part of our product and service development. It's about the business benefits and how customers can take advantage of the business benefits. So, one thing I would say is we're starting to see a shift very much so in customers moving from a cost focus for cloud to more about agility, business innovation, and business transformation. So, and that's really exciting to be on that journey with our customers. And, some of the things we start to see is how customers are enabling their end users to be more flexible, to be more mobile. They're mobilising and digitising business processes, which is really leading to some great business benefits, very demonstrable business benefits. And also the general, the digitisation of business processes is enabling our customers to deliver more adaptive, more efficient services to their customers. And I think it's been really exciting for us in particular to see the way customers are transforming their businesses. I think...
Let me interrupt you briefly.
Yeah.
Do you think that the transformation from a cost basis to more of a, what can we do with it is based on the technology that's available or the technology that's already installed? Because people it's not just like we have to invest in computers anymore. They're already a part of the business.
Well, the computers are part of the business, but of course we're seeing people moving from the desktop to different devices, particularly mobile devices. That trend's well documented. There's more mobile devices in the world than there are desktops. We know that. But beyond that, even to the sort of services, what is called mobile to mobile, the machines that are starting to transmit data back. Cloud is really enabling the mobilization of services, but also the next point is the enablement of devices and machines on the network, on the edge of the network. And of course, that's all part of what some people are calling the third wave of computing. We've gone from mainframe to client server to cloud, what others call the nexus of forces. But all of these things that the cloud in an essence enables around mobility, the Internet of Things and big data and analytics, social media and the mobilisation around all of that, it is enabling a new generation of service delivery, and it is enabling new devices on the end of networks, and it is enabling new work practices, work processes, and I think importantly new models of collaboration and innovation. So, when we see, as I said before, the benefits starting to flow to our customers, rather than just TCO, it is actually enabling new ways of doing business. But this is coming with some complexity, of course. And if we look at the business, what's broadly termed as consumerisation, is our end users in a business bring more of their own IT back into that business. They've learned that iPads are really great things to use at home, and they want to bring that into the business. Consumers are finding great applications themselves on the web that they also want to bring into the business. That's creating some complexity in how the business manages all of that, both from a security perspective. How do you prevent all the data that is suddenly going into these applications being lost when somebody leaves the business, or how do you access the data in those applications for your own business analytics and business processes? So there's some really interesting and quite complex needs that businesses are coming across there. And not only that, they're buying from, businesses are now free to go and buy best-of-breed applications off the web, but often this is coming from many different providers. So again, how do you manage your service delivery, the governance around this, the management and compliance of all these different applications from different providers that are delivering into your business? And Telstra is very, very focused on how we make that easy for customers. So how do we give our businesses the tool sets, the service management capability, the reporting, the insights, so that they do have control over what could be and can be and is often a fairly complex environment. So very much focused on enabling all customers to access these, but doing it in a way that it makes it easy. So as I said, these new technologies, cloud is really an enabler for many of these new technologies. And this is disruptive. It's disruptive for the industry, as we see IT companies and telcos having to do new things in new ways, but also for businesses, because businesses are increasingly focused on digitising processes and making that easier for customers to interact, getting the advantages of insights in the customers. But they're also facing many businesses that, as we say, were kind of born on the web. They're not constrained by any legacy systems. They are being born with these new kind of business models. They are founded in that way. And it's really important that we can take our customers on that journey so that they're also taking advantage of the benefits that are available to businesses by using all these web applications, cloud services, mobility and so forth. So, as I said, it's disruptive in terms of an industry, technology disruptive aspect, but it's also disruptive for customers because they're facing new, more nimble competitors in market. And as I said, we're very focused on enabling customers to do that and to leverage the new ways of working, the new ways of building applications and services so that they're able to compete effectively in market with these competitors who I said are sort of born on the web. So if you move on, Justin, these are really 5 key technologies, and as I said, we think they're providing the technology platform for the future. These are transforming the way businesses can create and deliver services, and it's an exciting time, I think, for business now to really look at how they innovate, both within the organisation and across organisations, how they enable collaboration and how they enable their customers, their employees with more flexible ways of working. And also, I'd say gain greater insights into their customers. So cloud, as we know, cloud's a service delivery mechanism. It's not necessarily a product or a thing. It's a way of consuming services. And the benefits to business are that you can consume these services on demand. You can buy a service. You can rapidly deploy the service. It's proven technology. It's secure. And it enables you to have access to the sort of services that big enterprise has had for a long time that has not always been available to smaller business. But I think, interestingly, for smaller businesses, a great opportunity is that maybe you're not constrained by some of the systems that larger businesses have in place. So it's a great opportunity to start to look for best-of-breed applications. And there are so many applications and services out there, but best-of-breed applications that are going to suit your specific business requirements. Now, mobility, of course, we're all aware of the amazing penetration of mobiles and the way that is changing our working patterns. And really, cloud enables mobility in a way that it just wasn't enabled before. Having a centralised service delivery capability for applications delivered to mobile endpoints is going to transform the way we work, and I think we're only really at the start of that journey. It's really exciting to see where that can go and the kind of benefits that can deliver for businesses, but also for end users being more flexible in how they work.
Tim, I have one question here. That's come in, and it really deals with, and I think it's been in the news lately about the Dropbox security leak and the password leaks, and particularly dealing with mobility. It's been mentioned that you could just have your phone stolen and lose data, or let somebody else get access to your data. So, how has security gotten better with modern cloud, with mobility, that we can, number one, protect our own networks, and number two, protect data that is off the network?
So a big value proposition that Telstra has is that we own the network, and we're able to secure these services end-to-end. And when I say end-to-end, I mean the cloud itself. We work very closely with partners to make sure that's very secure, and it's very hard to argue that what this kind of security we see around cloud offerings can be beaten by a business. The partners we work with, our own cloud is very, very secure. The network, by able to plug our networks into the cloud, our private network capability, to secure that end-to-end for customers, prevent any sort of intrusions and malware over that is very important. And of course, on the mobility side, on the device end, is a very key area to secure. And that's why we have a number of mobile device management solutions that we look to secure the device on. But it's getting that end-to-end, because all of these individual components separately don't add up to a secure delivery system. And that's where Telstra has a lot of managed solutions that enable that security right across the service delivery chain.
Fantastic, thank you. So let's continue on to social.
So social is, we all know social media, Facebook and so forth, but really where we see interest from our customers and where we're starting to see business value is how they're taking social media and using it as a new collaboration tool for customers. So, of course, we're getting across all the channels of LinkedIn and Facebook and all these kind of Twitter things, but really it's about how we enable them, how customers enable themselves to take a view of their customers across there. We're starting to see some really interesting things happening there, and also around how customers are taking a view of data that they're pulling from those various channels, those various social media channels, and starting to get insights into their customers. And this, for me, is really where we're going to start to see a lot of value for businesses. And that leads on to the next step, which is all about data and Internet of Things. So how do we gather all that data? Some of it structured, some of it non-structured, some of it could be a voice call or a piece of video or a comment on Twitter, or actually structured data out of our own databases. How do we take all of that and make sense of it? And we're starting to see a lot of tool sets that are enabling that for customers. And I think they're the sort of deep, predictive customer insights that are going to get customers ahead of the game, enable them to start to predict or get very early views on trends, whether it's a customer satisfaction around a call center or a product, or customers feeding back ideas for product development or service delivery, depending on what you do. This is really exciting and really provides the kind of insights that just weren't available or were very, very difficult to come across only a matter of 3 or 4 years ago. So big transition there, and again, only at the start of that journey. And the last one I'll talk to very briefly is about open platforms. So there's a very big shift going in the market in how services are architected and how the collaborative open source models for building platforms and applications. And I think the implications there are really interesting for business about collaborating across between companies and across ecosystems, and having access to more rapid service development, much better service integration and interoperability, and the ability to really start to think about how you can enable business models, product offerings, service offerings across value chains, such that in some cases, your business might be leading delivery of that service, but take advantage of services or components from other providers or other businesses or other partners in the ecosystem. In some cases, partners may be taking something that you do and incorporating it into an offering, and that really just expands the opportunity for services to get to market and to create more innovative offerings.
Well, it seems like you're able to be a lot more flexible, a lot more quickly. This isn't a big production in order to get something new in or somebody new in or a new provider in. You can do it over a weekend and be up and running by Monday.
Well, yeah, and this is the interesting thing is we're seeing a breakdown from fairly tightly vertically integrated delivery models to ones that are more component based and are really two-sided. You could lead delivery, or someone else might lead delivery, but it's using components from different people, businesses, providers. So very interesting change in dynamic there.
Thanks, Tim. Before we move on, I do want to just ask you, and to get a sense of where you are at in your business journey. You'll see a slide up on your screen now that has some choices for you, whether you're new to the cloud, you've been doing it for a bit, or you are fully integrated into the cloud and are just looking for the newest, hottest technology. I want to get a sense of where you're at, and that'll guide our conversation. While we're waiting for you to respond, I'm going to welcome in Erez Yarkoni. He's the Executive Director for Cloud here at Telstra, and to talk about, because cloud is big, and when they first came to me with the idea of talking about cloud, I said, that's great, but are we going to have a whole day to do it? Because cloud is just massive. Yeah. So what I want to talk about is not just what cloud is, but what also cloud is going to be.
Yeah, no problem. Justin, thank you for inviting me. And cloud is not just big; it means many things to many people. There's many permutations, and I don't believe we can get into all of these. I do want to take a minute, though, just to address one element of that security question that came up, because I think it's a good question. And I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but just kind of logical, right? Part of addressing security is addressing it from a probability perspective of, what do I do and where that makes it more secure. It's more secure to walk around the streets of a busy city during daylight than it is in the alleys during the night, right?
So risk management.
So there is risk management. Now, if you think about the profile of public clouds, which are great for certain things, but they are very public, and there's anybody can get on. You need a credit card, you get on, and so on. When you think about where security breaches can come from and the ability to put software on those environments and start trolling or looking for vulnerabilities or things like that, that's one profile. When you think about a cloud offer from a Telstra that sits inside our data center and is only open really to business entities that we typically do credit checks on or have a relationship with and so on, you get a different profile of users on the environment. So the probability that some developer from Eastern Europe is trolling your infrastructure is a lot lower. Plus, you have to get through the Telstra security that secures our data center and our network. And there's very few organizations in Australia, probably Telstra in the top tier in the world, that spends on security, both from a human capital integration to the threat environment from law enforcement authorities, or that type of integration we have there, but also the actual technologies and processes that we have to secure. So that's just a little bit to answer, how do you do security, or how do you deal with security, and what you should think about. Now let's cover a little bit about the strategy. So I think I'll summarize, what Tim said just in kind of a couple sentences. So adoption of cloud growing, some of it as it started from trying to benefit, cost benefits, IT adoption and so on, now getting into business benefits. So you're looking at the opportunity cost of not, or what business does it open for me to adopt it. It definitely removed a lot of hurdles, right? As a service model or as a model removes hurdles of entry into the capabilities, and it creates capabilities. But what really is happening is the adoption is happening a component at a time, right? So you're adopting cloud storage, or you're adopting cloud CRM, or you're adopting and so on. So technically what you're doing is you're taking an element of what you are operating with, you're applying innovative technology to it, or a different way of technology, and you're making that process a lot leaner. You're improving that process. What hasn't happened really yet is taking all these processes that you're improving independently and trying to tie them together, and that's because it's complex.
Well, and I think that's one of the problems that people have, is that they come in and say, okay, there are too many disparate systems going on here, and they don't play well together.
Yeah. Now, this is not new. This is true for the technology that used to be in a data center. Same problems, right? So then we had to have integration hubs and APIs and SOAs and all kinds of things, and it's true, but let's play a not so favorable future, which is you've adopted all kinds of these as a service technology, whether it's an integrated infrastructure stack or an integrated software as a service stack. Basically, those are integrated stacks, but it just gets adopted one by one, and you lose the ability to really orchestrate something meaningful across your business, right? And then you're back into trying to retrofit that integration. Now, what Telstra is trying to do is really, and this is our strategy, and we believe that that's where we will have a meaningful business, a meaningful strategy, is to solve that for our customers, right? To help them get to that business solution, which looks like going to be a hybrid of cloud mobility and technology solutions. To do that, we're executing our strategy. The reinforcing actions to the strategy, I kind of will divide into 3 or 4 branches. Let's see how it rolls out. But one first branch out of it is we got to have some kind of relationships with those technologies that are the components of the hybrid solutions, right? So we have 2 roles in it. We are actually execute those relationships such that we can put them into a common place and apply to them some common aspects, which I'll talk about in a second. The second part, I think Telstra is a very large brand and entity in Australia, also has some of the responsibility of bringing domestically some international capabilities. Now, we are also very focused on global, so when we do that, we always think about it from a global perspective when we have a partnership. But, we announced earlier in the year the platform with Cisco, the intercloud platform with Cisco Cloud Services. Telstra was the catalyst the accelerator for Cisco to actually pick and choose and build one here. Without Telstra, Cisco wouldn't have come to Australia first, right? I think you'll see some announcements like that coming out more and more. That's part of our role, and obviously the creating those relationships. And we focus on all the valuable integrated stacks, which some of them are called applications, some of them are called software as a service, and some are called infrastructure as a service, and some are called platform as a service. But we're creating those relationships, bringing them into a common place. The other thing is, the other branch, in this as a service model, the promise of as a service is a very elastic business. So low hurdle of entry, you can buy it as a service, it's quick to deploy, it's pre-provisioned, like you said, it's pre-provisioned, right? Now, where it doesn't play completely is when you look at it in the context of a business solution, what's not as a service yet is helping you do the solution, but also getting the solution to the places where you use the solution, because that typically involves the network all the way to the edge. Yeah. And the network all the way to the edge today is not necessarily as elastic as everything. Now, what's the probability somebody will really solve that elasticity all the way to the edge on the network? The probability is that it will happen by somebody who owns the network, right? And that's the second branch that Telstra invests a lot in, which is connecting all these integrated stacks that we call clouds and technologies together, but also applying technology to that connectivity in a way that brings the elasticity of as a service all the way to the edge. We call these things in the environment software-defined networks and network functional virtualization and so on, but it really is configuring that elasticity with software so it's not manual, it becomes automatic and orchestrated, and then applying the value-added services, which some of them tied to security like firewalls and sometimes to performance like app accelerators, that in a virtual way and make it elastic. So that would be the second branch. The third branch is really, once you have the relationship with these capabilities, so call them the ingredients, once you have the ability to tie them all together with access and elastic access, you need some common tools in order to start consuming them, right, before you even... and some of the tools are around just logistics, right? So tools around, what does it mean, tools around logistics? You want to get one bill when you deal with it. You don't want 15 different bills and 15 different billing cycles and so on. Now, bill is not just bill. You also want to be able to see what you consume, right? So it's not just billing. It's really consumption management in that environment. You want to be able to monitor your entire environment from one place. You want to be able to understand permissions of use in your organization to the different components and be able to manage it from one place. So there's a kind of a wealth of tools, which again, we're not reinventing the wheel, but we're inventing a wheel that has to drive in a different terrain. So those tools used to exist in your different business solutions when they were delivered in a different way from a data center or from a laptop or from a tower underneath your desk. They're delivered as a service today. You have to apply to them, right? So Telstra is committed to doing that, definitely. And that's where we invest our own R&D and engineering. This is where we partner with software that helps us do that, but also have our own engineers put it together and build this platform that puts it together, that ties it together.
It sounds like ultimately you want something that, you don't want users beta testing. So you want users to get a product that works, that does what they need, but also get the specific products. It's easy to go on to the Apple App Store and say, I want something that gets weather. Yeah. And you're going to get 8 options. And it's really a crapshoot whether or not they're going to be any good. And I did that, just recently, and I found out that the radar app that I had was very wrong, and I got poured on yesterday. So, it's those small little things that you can find something that works.
Yeah. So we do that due diligence of the find something that works, no question about it. We also do the fact that that if you have a weather application and you have a travel application and you have something else, they're sitting on the same cycle of management for you. You can see that they're all working, that you're orchestrating a business app across it working, and that will give you some tools to build those. And that means that we're investing in these tools or in bringing them into kind of a common marketplace. You can search for them in one place. You can shop for them in one place. Our partners and sales channels understand them in one place and point you to one place when you build your solutions. And it's a place for us to integrate those. And from a technology perspective, with some other session, we can get into how we do it and how APIs play in here and so on. And then this was the third branch. The fourth branch, which ties together to the strategy, is getting to as-a-service consumption. You change the way you consume things. You created a lower barrier entry to consuming. Doesn't necessarily change the complexity of the final business solution you put together. We talked about it a lot here. This is where Telstra steps in with its managed service offering, right? So the reality is, even at a very first level of you put a few things together that give you your business capability, but they're tied to the software and the hardware that runs on and the network and so on, and something doesn't work, you want somebody to talk to, right?
Well, it's funny you say that. As we were setting up for this presentation, Linda set me up with a Box account, and I'd never used Box before. It was, I've used various solutions over the years, and I thought, it would be so easy, and then I figured out, no, this has something very different about the permissions that I don't necessarily get, and well, do I keep going with this very good solution that I know will work and is secure, or do I just go back to sending it on my Google Drive? It's like, well, for the pictures I'm sending back to Mom, yeah, that's fine, but for business applications, things that I want to keep secure, we have to go that way. But I didn't have anybody necessarily to pick up the phone and call.
So there's that element of obviously education and help. There's elements of something doesn't work. I don't know where in the stack. It's now a fairly complex stack. Is in my network? I saw a question pop through around how do you deal with poor network connectivity? Do you need fiber all the way? Oh, well, all of that has to be premedicated when you build the solution. You have to think about these things, where they are located, what would be the network to them, and that's where the wealth of Telstra services, both from our salespeople, are very knowledgeable and educated about. We have professional service around, and we have partners and channels that help solve specific solutions for specific. And we're investing in automating the entire service management chain. So if you want to bring elasticity to the whole solution, you don't want a whole bunch of phone calls and I'll call you later and that. You want to be able to collect the right information about what you want to do at one point and distribute it to a very complex supply chain of how that all gets together to a business solution in an automated way. You want to be able to do triage in the right places and root cause and roll it back up and all the good things. That is really Telstra's role, and that's how we're investing, right? So we're doing the partnership. You see the announcements around what we're partnering with, both from platforms and applications. We're doing the engineering around putting it together. We're definitely investing in the network, in the software-defined network. That's our core as a company, and that's where we build the integrated stack that requires the billions of dollars of investment. And our service management, under this umbrella of global enterprise of services, we have an integrated service management where we're investing tens of millions in tools and automation and closing the loop there. And together, those four kind of branches, those four pillars, are the reinforcing actions that we take to execute on a strategy that says that when we touch a customer, we deliver a hybrid, well-orchestrated, good, well-working business solution.
Well, and then that gets into the question, and we're going to move on to Matt Sorvag, who's going to have the answer for this, is why do we select what we select, and why is it useful? So we're going to head back out to Melbourne now and bring Matt Sorvag into the conversation. He's a cloud specialist for Telstra Business. Matt, let's take a look at what we have available and how to get it.
Okay, thanks, Justin, and thank you, Tim and Erez, for your insights and letting us know how we're going to help our customers. So today I want to introduce the new Telstra Apps Marketplace to everybody. It's all about our changing landscape and how we're going to respond to change, deliver an experience for our customers and let them get the applications and services that deliver value to their business. So it is the next evolution of our T-Suite platform with the objectives of modernising and simplifying our experience and adding more value and self-service capability to deliver what you want when you need it. We want the experience to be seamless, just as seamless as purchasing an application on your phone. We want our applications to be of value, and that is why we're building a hand-curated list of applications, not simply publishing masses. Now, I want you to think about a couple of examples that were put forward before. So Box was one of them. The other one's DocuSign. Now, think of these, how they come together. Box is where you can store content securely. DocuSign is how you can interact with your customers to sign things on glass. So together, those two are going to produce or increase your productivity rates. So if we can move on, please. So let's have a look at a couple of the business drivers. So from a lot of research, there's been 4 business drivers that are typically identified. The first is always about reducing cost and time for implementing new solutions. The second is about allowing our staff to work from anywhere. The third is about running best-in-class applications from multiple vendors. An example is like Box and DocuSign. And the last one is to run these applications securely, reliably, and to be supported. So let's spend some time and step through each of these. Now with the first one, the traditional applications, they've taken anywhere from weeks to years to implement. And businesses are paying for hardware, services and support, often months before they actually deliver some value. And this is where the software as a solution or software as a service solutions improve your time to value. They reduce your deployment efforts from months to weeks or days, allowing you to realize these benefits sooner. So we no longer have to cater for what we think we need in 12 or 24 months. We can cater for what we need in the short term, with the platforms taking care of our needs, allowing us to focus on our business, optimize our costs, and ultimately realize a lower total cost of ownership. When you look at
let me ask you, is this in terms of the technology maybe that a business has already as opposed to what they might have down the road? So are we able to sort of customize and work with those, with what's already there? Because maybe they don't want to make an investment of, I don't want to make an investment for a new iPhone 6, but I know it would be better for me for my business. Where are we at in that cycle?
Yeah, so it's not about should I buy an iPhone 6, it's about I'm going to install an application or I'm going to build a new ERP solution for my business. I'm not sure where I'm going to be in 6 or 12 months, so how do I start with the lightest footprint possible? So we pay for what we need today and we can adapt in 12 months' time. We may need triple, we may not need it. So having that flexibility without the capital investment up front for that infrastructure is an example. So consuming services, which is going back to how do I consume the right services for my business at the right time.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. And then the other thing we've got to think about, collaboration and working from anywhere. We've got to consider the new talents entering the workforce. People expect to work from anywhere. They expect to use their own devices. The days of staff being in our offices, it's pretty rare nowadays. They don't always do that. So we need them to be with our customers delivering services that make a difference. And this is where these services will deliver business productivity, by connecting the teams wherever they are, wherever they are, whenever they're there, and from whichever device they have. Now, to make all of this a reality, a single vendor is not going to be able to deliver these services. And that's why we expect to be running large enterprise-only applications today for small and medium-sized teams. We expect to be able to turn them on and off, as your question was before, when we need those services. And to enable this, we have partnered with leading vendors from around the globe to acquire the software that you need when you need it in a single place. An example, again, Box and DocuSign are 2 of our launch products in this marketplace. Then the last one is about, assured reliability and security and support. And there's some interesting stats out there about unplanned downtime and loss of data is detrimental to businesses. Research shows that 43% of businesses that experience a disaster never reopen, with a further 29% closing within 2 years. And this is why business, continuity and disaster recovery has got more attention than ever before. And this is why we turn to software as a service solutions. They are more durable, generally more secure, and your data is backed up. But we also have to make sure we pick the correct solutions. Going back to that example about Box and the 7 million passwords. Is Box an enterprise solution or is it a consumer solution? Have we picked the appropriate application for our business? Now, we've worked with our partners to deliver great support, online documentation, a service desk, and online forums. We also have complementary solutions for our customers such as mobile device management, which goes back to the question about data loss. What if I lose that device? What happens to my data? Do I have the ability to remotely wipe that device? So that's another consideration on the security aspect of the solution, to make sure that we can actually manage it and know where our data is at any given time. So if we move on to some of the business benefits, we've heard about these drivers and why we are changing, but let's have a look at some of the business benefits for our business. So we're going to walk through a couple of reasons why we believe you should work with this model and change and adapt. So the first one we're going to address is the single marketplace. It goes back to what Erez said about a central location where you can purchase applications that you need from multiple vendors when you need them and have a great experience. So it's about being able to easily compare applications from multiple vendors side by side in a single place to ensure that they're going to deliver on what you need. It's unlikely that any particular vendor is going to compare another vendor's product unless they're trying to compete. And then we're moving on to choosing with confidence. Now, we allow you to choose applications and software with confidence from a handpicked catalogue where we believe these applications will deliver value and save you time through your process. We make your software application services process easier by providing you with a simple way to compare products from leading vendors side by side. Now,
actually, a question just came in from the audience that I think is a really good one, and that's how we go through, and what is the process for picking these apps? Because it's easy for me to be on the outside saying, well, they just threw a ton of money at Telstra, that's all it was, they don't really care about a good app. So what's the process for finding something good? Or maybe that's a Tim question too.
Yeah, so maybe I'll throw that one to Tim because Tim's working on that part.
Thanks. Yeah, we're very careful about the way we select applications. So in the main, we are approaching the vendors themselves. We don't really have a big program of incoming, dealing with the incoming requests, which we get a lot of. But it's really focused on what applications we think are firstly utilised a lot by business, but also delivering business capability that's going to address some of the real process blockers for businesses. And, good examples of that are Box and DocuSign, because there's a lot of processes in business that require document sharing, that require sign-off, that require a document to go through a process that can be mobilised. And, we've seen process acceleration, certain processes from days and days to a matter of hours, because it's hitting people's mobile devices, it's hitting them wherever they are. They don't have to log into a system. So it's all around what are the blockers, what are the enablers of better collaboration. So we're very specific in selecting the applications.
Excellent, thank you. And sorry about that, Matt, back to you.
That's all right. And just wanted to mention the screenshots you've seen on these slides are the actual screenshots of the new apps marketplace that will be superseding T Suite. So have a look and see what you think. So let's move on to ease of access. So with hosted solutions, it's often difficult and challenging. How do I change things? How do I get access to my data? How do I add new users? That's always a question we have. So with these sort of solutions, having everything in a single place, a single marketplace, it reduces that complexity. It allows you, at the click of a button, to purchase new applications. It allows you to associate licenses with your staff. Sometimes you can integrate with Active Directory as well. And again, you can do this from almost any device. So on the screenshot, you'll see there's a couple of pictures, from an iPhone to a tablet to a laptop. So really letting you access this from anywhere. Then moving on to...
One of the things that I found was really, really cool, and because we have the MDM on the Telstra phones, I just had a couple of my apps just updated, and I had a couple of new things just show up the other day. And it's great for me because I don't have to worry about going out on my own time figuring out where they are, what I need, which version I need. It just shows up and it works, which is, I can't even describe how happy that makes me.
Absolutely, and it reduces, the effort of trying to distribute applications and accounts and licensing. And often, how does somebody pay for a commercial application when you can have an enterprise agreement to cover those sorts of things? So having this, portal to manage things in one place, if we just move on one, please. To have this portal where you can manage these accounts and subscriptions easily, your users can either download or you can push updates to them. If you allocate them new software, again, they can go and get that new software, or you can push it out to them. So ultimately, you're reducing the time to get the applications to the end consumers of them. And you're also reducing the frustration that people may go through. Often people, in large businesses, they wait for a long time. And that example you spoke about, Justin, where we got the new applications pushed to us, that was a seamless experience for me too. So I truly believe in that. So now what I wanted to do is just take a step back. We've heard about, Tim talking about the industry. We've heard about Erez and the vision. I want to bring a few of these things together. And how do we bring these things together? And that's where this whole hybrid cloud conversation comes in. Now, in layman's terms, hybrid is a concept where you're going to match the service you require to the most appropriate platform to deliver it. Now, these platforms should meet your business, performance, continuity and security requirements economically. So I just want to cover a few things that we often see of how our customers address these in the market today. So the first one we've heard of is platform as a service. And the first thing that comes to mind is Office 365, delivering your email, content and collaboration services in a platform-based service. You pay for a service that you consume on a per-user basis. The second one that we've heard of is public cloud. So public cloud is often good for web-based workloads, public-facing sites, marketing sites, rich media sites, and all sorts of different things on the web. Again, public cloud suits those services. When we look at some of the other things like virtual private cloud, the first thing that comes to mind is a mid-sized business that has a number of line of business applications that cannot go to a service-based model. They need somewhere to deploy, they need to bring it back into their network and control those resources. So it's pretty fixed. It's not elastic such as the public cloud. So the most important thing that I feel, and I think Erez stressed on this quite a bit, is the network. To have that experience, to have a network that brings all these different things, public, private, platform, all together to deliver that experience across one network and to enrich your experience. And hopefully that will sort of take you through that.
So, yeah, and it's a good point there, because it's great to say you have this experience. It's great to say that you have the ability to do it, but if the connections just aren't good, if you're not working within your own office, and once you get out and you're working remote or attempting to work remote and you just can't get the connection, I mean, that's not something that's going to inspire long-term confidence in us and our ability to provide.
Correct. And also, if you are out of the office and you're on your mobile device, how do you connect in securely and how do you manage it, which goes back to the mobile device management point.
And let me ask you, actually, where are we at in terms of the apps marketplace? Because we had somebody ask, they tried to log on to the apps marketplace and had a little trouble. Where is it at, and what's the best way to get access?
So the apps marketplace hasn't been released just yet. So the screenshots you see are real. It does exist, and we are releasing it later this year. We don't have an exact confirmed date at this point. So that will be made public shortly, that date.
So that's something to watch for. Great. Thank you, Matt. We're going to bring in Joel Dane in just a moment here, but I do want to get a sense of where you're at in terms of applications. Not only, it's weird to say apps now because, Apple with the Mac has moved over to primarily apps and no longer programs. But how do you feel about apps? I mean, are you completely off of them? You just like a one static program? Do you like using things that are cutting edge? Where are you at in terms of apps? So while we get some responses to that, I'll welcome in Joel Dane. He is the National Manager of Cloud Services to kind of talk about what we as Telstra are here to do for you. So, Joel, please.
Thank you, Justin. And some pretty interesting topics about how we can help businesses on their cloud journey. So I just want to recap. Today we heard about a changing business environment that's driving the need for greater innovation on how technologies are used within a business. And the impact of cloud adoption, mobilization of the workforce, social media, and rapid development of applications are accelerating this change. You heard how our Telstra strategy and investment in cloud services are addressing this changing environment. But not only have we here at Telstra invested in technologies and platforms, we've also built an ecosystem of support and continue to invest in this ecosystem to help you get there. We've invested in a team of cloud solution specialists and technical specialists across the country that are aligned to you as a customer, that are able to help you better understand how to start that cloud journey. We have a specialized set of cloud partners, both cloud infrastructure partners and mobile application partners, to help you move to the cloud and also support those applications ongoing. And to give you some aspect, there's over 1,000 Telstra partners across the country, right down from Hobart to Cairns, that can help you as a customer move to our cloud services. Our strategy includes a global direction where we can help deliver these services outside of Australia. So think of you as a customer who's thinking of branching out and tapping into Asian and US markets. We're developing a global footprint around cloud services. So it's not just about Australia, it's about branching out and utilising that network footprint that Telstra has, both globally and locally. Telstra have created a set of tools around assessing your business and what parts of your business are ready now, in the midterm and long terms, in regards to utilising our cloud services, and how best to utilise some of the existing investment you have in our services, such as the network, the mobility services you use from Telstra. We have worked with our customers to develop case studies that address industry verticals. So if you're in manufacturing and retail or whatever it might be, and how customers have used cloud services to drive their business in those industry verticals.
So is this something, Joel, where we can, if I come to you as a business owner and I say, I'm in the manufacturing sector, in my plant I have 40 people, 7 are sales, they like to be able to work remote. Is that something where you have, examples of case studies where, businesses have adopted, similar sized businesses have adopted something and what's worked for them and where their challenges have been?
Yes, and if they're not published, we can also connect you with existing customers, which we've done in the past. So if you work in manufacturing and you want to talk to one of our manufacturing advocates using cloud services, we can help connect that. We can also connect you with maybe a partner that specialises in the manufacturing industry, so one of our own partners, to come out and discuss how they're working across manufacturing to move customers to the cloud.
And actually, as I'm thinking about this, we had a question come through as to what was the primary roadblock that businesses were seeing to employing in cloud. And I think this is a good question to ask you. I mean, what are we seeing that are holding people back from perhaps a full or greater implementation of cloud?
That's a great question, and it's asked a lot. And, it's quite simply, people don't know what they don't know. And I think all of us as an industry, including Telstra, need to do a better job in educating and providing tools to help organisations understand what the next step is. Because it's complex. You run a whole lot of applications inside your business. Where would you start without impacting the business negatively? Because cloud should be about positively driving productivity, not impacting negatively. So the biggest blocker we've found is it's education and help. And as an organisation, I think we play a huge part in reaching out to our customers and doing that piece.
Excellent, thank you.
So I might just carry on. One of the other things that we've started doing is working with industry associations to create guides to help you as a customer make a more informed decision on your cloud journey. And this is about real relevant guides that get to the heart of the matter around things like security, productivity, cost, innovation, and how to best position as an influencer or decision maker in your organisation to help that organisation take the first step in making an informed decision around choosing the right cloud service. The most recent one we've just done is with CPA, which is called a Guide to a Cloud, the Guide to the Move to the Cloud, and we will be sending that out post this event, and you can use that as a guide to looking at where cloud would best fit inside your business.
It's interesting that you say that you have to sort of convince someone of the wonders of cloud, and I think most of the people who are on this call are part of the converted. But I mean, what's the primary pushback that you get from a business owner who may not see an immediate relevance in cloud?
Because, and that's a really good question, because again, if you're focusing on relevance in cloud, you're probably having you're focusing on the wrong area. Where we have found the conversation that needs to happen inside a business is, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to deliver a better service to their customer? Are they trying to make their sales force more efficient on how they're in front of their customers or getting access to information? You need to focus on the parts of the business supply chain that need help to allow that business to stay profitable and relevant in a marketplace. And then you go, well, here's a cloud service that can help as a platform to take you to there. And we've got lots of case studies where we've done that with, say, an organisation was printing out manuals for safety checks for a tree lopping company, and that was the problem. They couldn't get those changes in the manual out to those end tree loppers, I think is what you call it, arbiter or whatever, in time. So what they did is we discussed on how we could digitise that process using a mobile app that got that outcome. But the conversation didn't start around a mobile application, if that makes sense. So focusing on the business problem. It's the tool.
Get the job done. Yeah.
Yes, and it's always the tool. Yeah, it's like the leverage platform to get a business where they need to, and be a lot more agile and innovative in how they work with technology.
So is that something, if I have, the question for my business, you go to my AE to help get these, the white papers and get the case studies to help make the case to my boss because I want to be the evangelist because it's something I believe in?
Well, it's interesting that if we look at all the opportunities we've worked with customers, it's been about jointly developing business cases and response back into the business on a focus area around a problem. So absolutely, your account executive, your specialist, the ecosystem of partners, they will work with you as a customer for the first, second, and third step, whatever that might be.
Fantastic. Joel, do you have anything else to add to your slides? Otherwise, we just have a couple of minutes left for questions.
Just one last thing. We are offering a promotion voucher trial for our infrastructure service platform. So if you are interested in looking at some of the things that we've got available today, reach out to your account executive, or I think, Justin, you're going to sort of give some logistics on how they can respond to that process.
Yeah, there will be a note sent out probably as early as tomorrow. It'll also have this presentation on demand, so if it's something you missed some or you want to rewatch and also be able to download the slides, we will send that out to everyone.
And probably the last comment I'll make is, it's not about moving everything, it's about choosing the first step and then doing it in stages so that the impact of the business is something that can be controlled and you get immediate or very quick return on investment of moving a service to the cloud.
Yeah, and just one last question that came in, and we're going to run out of time here, was that in their end of town, the resistance they run into is from the internal IT staff, be that because I don't want to say they don't want to work, but they don't want that extra complication in their job of something else that they have to handle and really can't necessarily control. So how do you respond to them, to that internal staff, that IT staff that may be pushing back because they're happy with status quo because it's manageable?
I think it's again working with those teams around education, helping them understand that as the world of IT changes, that their role is very much about business transformation and influencing in the business, and it's our role to help them transform too. So what I've found a lot of times, the resistance is only due to the language and conversations that generally cloud providers are having with that internal team. So they might be focusing on the wrong area.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Erez, Tim, Joel, and Matt. I'm Justin Cleveland, your Telstra Virtual Events Manager. It's been a great talk about cloud, and I do encourage everyone to check out, if you're interested at all in the next step in what the infrastructure services that Joel was talking about, reach out to your AE, because I think it's something that it at least can start a conversation within your business about tools that you can use to get the job done. So I want to thank all of you for joining us here today for this Telstra virtual event. We do have another one coming up, and as a matter of fact, it's going to be another one that's sort of, I don't want to say cloud focused, but we're going to be talking about Telstra's security services. So a lot of what we've talked about here going to be talked about there. That's on the 27th of November. You can get more information about that by logging on to the On24 platform, and you will see registration pages for all of that. So again, gentlemen, thank you all for joining us here today. For you on the call, thank you for joining us. I would invite you to fill out a survey. There's a little widget on the bottom of your screen. Just let us know what you thought of the event today, some things you would like to see again in the future. And that is going to do it for this Telstra virtual event, Your Guide to the Cloud. Again, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.